वो मर्सनरीज कह सकते हैं आप, जिसको आप पैसा दीजिए आपके लिए लड़ाई करेंगे, मारपीट करेंगे, वो वैसे ग्रुप था. सो पेंडारीज ऑल्सो सपोर्टेड बाजीराव, पेशवा बाजीराव too. Fine. So in this particular war, that is third Anglo-Maratha war, of course they all were defeated, and not only defeated, finally the office of Peshwa was permanently abolished. All right. पेशवा का ऑफिस परमानेंटली एबॉलिश कर दिया गया और इनको बिथूर कानपुर के पास भेज दिया गया. ये था एंग्लो मराठा वॉर. तो 1818 में एंग्लो मराठा वॉर का कहानी खत्म होता है, मराठा का चैप्टर खत्म होता है. सो मराठा विच हैज द पोटेंशियल टू बिकम द लेजिटिमेट एम्पायर इन इंडिया, नाउ दैट मराठा आल्सो गॉट कंप्लीटली एलिमिनेटेड by the Britishers. All right. So you can see whether the Warren Hastings, Lord Wellesley, or even Lord Hastings, now they all were very instrumental in removal of the Marathas one by one, and finally by 1818 Marathas issue got completely eliminated. All right. So with this, of course, Mysore, Hyderabad, Marathas, all chapter came to an end. All right. And finally, what we see the policy of subsidiary alliance was very much instrumental in terms of increasing the influence of the British East India Company across India. So what was subsidiary alliance? Let us just try to now understand that. So see, subsidiary alliance was a concept initially launched by Lord Wellesley. All right. Originally, I told you just now, originally the policy like subsidiary alliance was initiated by Dupleix. But to give it a formal shape, Wellesley was instrumental in giving it a formal shape to the concept of subsidiary alliance. Now, subsidiary alliance became very important for the British company to expand its influence in the different parts of India without conquering them directly. Now, see, Wellesley has three ideas clearly. One, it will go for either subsidiary alliance, or second, if someone who will not abide by subsidiary alliance will have to face a war with the Britishers. So in this context only he launched subsidiary alliance. So what was their subsidiary alliance? There are few features of subsidiary alliance. NCERT mentions about those features. पहला, subsidiary alliance के तहत the Britishers will put their army or battalion or the group of soldiers in the court of the local raja or local ruler with whom this treaty will be signed. पहला क्या था कि सोल्जर्स को दूसरे राजा के कोर्ट में रखना. दूसरा, उन सोल्जर्स को मेंटेन करने के लिए उनके रख रखाव पे जो खर्च आएगा, उस पे जो सब्सिडी होगा, जो पैसा खर्च होगा, वो लोकल राजा या लोकल चिफ्टेन या लोकल नवाब ही खर्च करेंगे. सो सेकेंड वन वॉज कि पैसा जो खर्च होगा सोल्जर्स पे वो भी लोकल राजा और नवाब ही करेंगे. ठीक है. तो ये होगा दूसरा फीचर. तीसरा, अगर लोकल राजा और नवाब पैसा नहीं खर्च कर पा रहे हैं उनके मेंटेनेंस पे, तो उनको जमींदारी देना होगा, मतलब अपना लैंड देना होगा कंपनी को, और वहां से कंपनी पैसा निकाल के उसको मेंटेन करेगी. ये भी तीसरा प्रोविजन था सबसिडियरी अलायंस में. चौथा, एक परमानेंट ब्रिटिश रेसिडेंट, जैसे इस केस में बताया था आपको एल्फिंस्टन, एक परमानेंट ब्रिटिश रेसिडेंट दूसरे राजा के कोर्ट में हमेशा रहेगा. Alright, that was a third important feature in which a permanent British resident will live continuously at the court of the other partner of subsidiary alliance. ठीक है. That was the fourth feature. Fifth feature was that the local raja or ruler will not employ any European officers or the military personnel or the soldier in their court or in the army without taking the approval from the Governor General of India. So Governor General के approval से कोई भी यूरोपियन किसी भी लोकल राजा के कोर्ट में एम्प्लॉय नहीं हो सकता है. ये भी बहुत बड़ा एक प्रोविजन था. फाइन. इसके अलावा it was the fifth position. Sixth provision was that the local raja will not get into any negotiation. जो लोकल राजा होगा वो कोई भी नेगोशिएशन नहीं करेगा किसी भी लोकल राजा के साथ. मतलब there will not be any local alliance, जैसे हुआ था मराठास, निजाम और मैसूर के बीच में, तो वैसा कोई भी लोकल अलायंस अब पॉसिबल नहीं है. So no negotiation will be allowed there. All right, and then the British company will agree. That was the seventh provision. British company will agree to provide them the security. So British will provide them the security to defend the ruler. Britain will provide them the security. It was also a part of the feature of subsidiary alliance. That was seventh feature. Eighth feature was that the British company or British government will not interfere into day-to-day activities of the local rajas or in the court of the local rajas or local, you can say, chieftains in India. So किसी local राजा या local नवाब या निजाम के कोर्ट में कोई उसके इंटरनल अफेयर्स में इंटरफेरेंस नहीं होगा, ब्रिटिश के तरफ से कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं होगा. That was the eighth provision. However, they hardly used to maintain it, but that's what actually was the provision of this particular subsidiary alliance. तो आप देख सकते हैं ये आठों फीचर्स थे सबसिडियरी अलायंस के. और इसका मतलब क्या था, इम्पैक्ट क्या था? The impact was very much visible. First and foremost, the local chieftains, local rajas, local nawab, local ruler, they lost their independence completely. So sovereignty was lost. That was the first impact. Second one was there was a complete exploitation of the local kingdoms financially, mentally, physically by the British company. So financially they started becoming very weak. All right, that was second impact. Third impact was that because of this financial limitation, the local rulers, they actually had to disband their armies. अब ब्रिटिश आर्मी कोर्ट में पहले से ही है, तो अपना आर्मी मेंटेन करके क्या करेंगे वो, तो दे हैड टू डिस्बैंड देयर आर्मीज. इससे क्या हुआ, ह्यूज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट हो गया. सो द पर्सनल सोल्जर्स हु वर एम्प्लॉयड बाय द लोकल राजास, लोकल रूलर्स, दे ऑल बिकेम अनएम्प्लॉयड, जॉबलेस, डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ देयर बेसिक लाइवलीहुड. ठीक है, इसलिए सारे सपोर्ट करते हैं 1857 की क्रांति में. ठीक है, सो दैट ऑल्सो हैपेंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. फोर्थ, the interest of common man were completely ignored. क्यों? क्योंकि अब लोकल राजा को पता है कि उसको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए कंपनी है, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट है, तो अगर वो वेलफेयर एक्टिविटीज नहीं भी करेगा आम जनता के लिए, तो कहाँ आम जनता उसके खिलाफ रिवोल्ट करने जा रही है, उसको हटाने जा रही है? तो क्यों सपोर्ट तो उसको ऊपर से ही मिल रहा है, कंपनी की तरफ से मिल रहा है, गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से मिल रहा है, तो क्यों वो लोकल लोगों के लिए कुछ वेलफेयर एक्टिविटीज करें? तो वेलफेयर एक्टिविटीज ऑल्सो डिक्रीज शार्पली एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. Then fifth, this policy was extremely advantageous to the Britishers. Why? Because without having any direct responsibility, they got all the power, and at the same time, the local ruler, local raja, local chieftains, they had no power but all the responsibilities. So in this particular factor only, the Britishers were completely at advantageous position. And last but not the least, if there would be any war between British company with the other, you can say, local chieftains or local rulers, let's say Sikh, let's say others, of course the wars would be fought on the territory of the other rulers with whom subsidiary alliance treaty had been signed by the British government. So that was a win-win situation for the British power, and therefore what happened that one by one, Nizam of Hyderabad, Nawab of Awadh, they all signed subsidiary alliance. In 1798, Hyderabad signed. In 1801, Awadh signed. Then in 1799 and 1800, Mysore signed after defeat of Tipu Sultan. And then Marathas also signed in the case of the 1802 Treaty of Bassein, that is Peshwa Bajirao II. So these all actually signed this all subsidiary alliance, and by this logic only the Maratha issue was also eliminated. Now it became very clear that from 1818, that is from 1818 to 1857, till the revolt of 1857 took place, इस पीरियड के बीच में अब कुछ ही चीज बचे हुए थे ब्रिटिशर्स को अचीव करने के लिए. एक सिंध, दूसरा पंजाब. So in NCERT, what is mentioned there? It is mentioned very clearly and briefly about Sindh and Punjab. Now Sindh, why Sindh? You see, Sindh location is very strategically important for the British Empire in India. Sindh was located in the midst of both Afghanistan and Iran. All right, and here in Afghanistan already the Anglo-Russian rivalry was actually increasing up. So because of that only they wanted to create a buffer zone to safeguard their own interests in India, and therefore they wanted to increase their influence on the frontiers of India. So frontier was of course Afghanistan and Sindh also in that way. So Sindh was being ruled by Amirs, AMIR. So Amirs जो है वहाँ के चीफ होते थे, और आमिर्स के साथ इनका रिलेशन काफी अच्छा था, फिर भी इन्होंने सिंध को एनेक्स कर लिया। क्यों, मैं बताता हूँ। सी आमिर के साथ रिलेशन अच्छा था, कैसे हम कह सकते हैं इसको? कहते हैं ऐसे कि ट्रीटी उन्होंने साइन किया था आमिर के साथ 1832 में, दैट इज ट्रीटी विद आमिर्स, एंड देन इन 1839 subsidiary alliance was also signed with Sindh, the Amirs of Sindh. So subsidiary alliance पहले ही साइन कर चुके थे वो। फिर 1843 में what compelled the Britishers to finally annex Sindh completely into the part of British Empire? So Charles Napier, who was the commander-in-chief, he actually mentioned once very remarkably that we have no right to seize Sindh. We have no right to seize Sindh, yet we shall do so. We have no right to seize Sindh, yet we shall do so at a very advantageous, useful, human piece of rascality. Very advantageous, useful, and human piece of rascality it will be. Now this statement was made by Charles Napier, N-A-P-I-E-R, Napier. So Charles Napier ने स्टेटमेंट मेड किया था सिंध के लिए। तो सिंध को इन्होंने ऑक्युपाई कर लिया, एनेक्स कर लिया। क्यों किया, इसके रीजन मैं आपको कुछ बताता हूँ। देखिए, पहला था कि एंग्लो रशियन राइवलरी, ठीक है। सो एंग्लो रशियन राइवलरी का इनको अफगानिस्तान पे कंट्रोल करना था, और अफगानिस्तान में कंट्रोल करना इतना आसान नहीं था क्योंकि वहां पे पॉपुलर सपोर्ट काफी ज्यादा था। सो पॉपुलर सपोर्ट का अफगानिस्तान में इनको डिफीट मिला। सो विद दिस डिफीट दैट दे फेस्ड इन अफगानिस्तान, दे हैड टू एक्चुअली ऑफ कोर्स अपलिफ्ट देयर ईगो कि ऑलरेडी एक डिफीट मिल गया अफगानिस्तान में, अब क्या हम दिखाएं अपने जनता को, अपने शेयर होल्डर्स को इंग्लैंड में कि कंपनी हार रही है अफगानिस्तान में। तो उन्होंने एक रीजन ये दिया, ठीक है, कि क्यों हमने कैप्चर किया। सो टू कैप्चर अफगानिस्तान, they thought, Britishers thought it is important to capture first of all Sindh, because from Sindh to reach Afghanistan it is strategically located. Alright, तो सिंध को कैप्चर किया, ठीक, ताकि वो अफगानिस्तान में इजिली एंटर कर जाए और अफगानिस्तान को फाइनली कैप्चर कर ले। ठीक है, अफगानिस्तान को इसलिए कैप्चर करे कि वो बफर जोन बन जाए रशिया के साथ। ठीक है, कि रशिया अगर एक्सपैंड करता है टेरिटरी तो वो इंडिया के अंदर घुसे नहीं हो। उनका मेजर पर्पस था कि इंडिया को किस तरह से प्रोटेक्ट कर लो। ठीक है, तो ये रीजन था सिंध को कब्जा करने के लिए। इसके अलावा भी सिंध वाज आल्सो बिकमिंग इकोनॉमिकली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द ब्रिटिश कंपनी। नाउ सिंध हैड कमर्शियल एडवांटेज बिकॉज ऑफ रिवर इंडस, ऑलराइट, रिवर सिंध। सो रिवर सिंध से ट्रेडिंग एक्टिविटीज भी होता था, इसके कारण सिंध को कैप्चर करना इनके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया था। सो दीज फैक्टर्स वर रिस्पॉन्सिबल बिहाइंड देयर एनेक्सेशन ऑफ सिंध। ऑलराइट, दैट इज हाउ सिंध वाज फाइनली कैप्चर्ड। ठीक, अब बचा पंजाब। So Lord Dalhousie played a very important role in the annexation of Punjab. Now see, Punjab's story was also very typical. Now, till Ranjit Singh was alive, till 1839, of course, the British and Punjab, they were actually running their governments parallelly without intervening or interfering in each other's activities. But once Ranjit Singh passed away, there was an issue of succession in the Punjab territory also. Alright, like Khalak Singh, Nihal Singh, so they all came as a successor, but they were not actually the visionary, or they were not actually so, you can say, effective king of Punjab like Ranjit Singh. So once Ranjit Singh was out from the scenario, of course, Dalip Singh, Rani Jindian, so Dalip Singh was a small child, so of course he was actually put on the throne by Rani Jindian as the successor. So in this particular background only Anglo Sikh War also took place in 1845. So in the first Anglo-Sikh war, the Sikh battalions or Sikh, you can say, Sardars, they crossed river Satluj. The river Satluj, it was actually a part of a treaty of 1809 only, when Raja Janjit Singh and British company, they agreed that they will not cross river Satluj, and Satluj will be the boundary between the Sikh Empire and the British Empire. So of course they crossed the Satluj, and because of that only the Britishers actually had to attack, and finally they defeated the Sikh Sardars in that particular war. Then again in 1849, second Anglo-Sikh war again reoccurred because of Mul Raj. He also revolted. So popular revolt also took place against the Sikh, against the English you can say, establishment by the Sikh Sardars and the Sikh sympathizers in the area of Sikh and Punjab region. Fine. So this is how the Mul Raj revolt took place in the second Anglo-Sikh war of 1849. But with this, of course, in 1849, the defeat of the Sikh battalions completely, Punjab was also finally annexed into the British Empire. Alright, and then outrightly, doctrine of lapse of Dalhousie is well known fact. Under doctrine of lapse, wherever there was not any legitimate heir, successor नहीं होगा legitimate, तो वो area doctrine of lapse के तहत British Empire के अंदर annex हो जाएगा. ये एक doctrine of lapse डलहौजी लेके आया ताकि जितने भी छोटे मोटे एरियाज है वो सब ब्रिटिश एम्पायर के अंदर सब्स्यूम कर जाए. तो इसी तहत सतारा, नागपुर, झांसी, इन सबको डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स के तहत एक्वायर कर लिया गया. इसी कारण रानी झांसी ने प्रोटेस्ट किया था, लक्ष्मीबाई ने प्रोटेस्ट किया था इस पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस के खिलाफ. ऑलराइट, एट द सेम टाइम अवध वाज आल्सो अनेक्स्ड. अवध वाज आल्सो अनेक्स्ड इन 1856, बट नॉट ऑन द प्रिटेक्स्ट ऑफ डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स. Awadh was annexed on the pretext of misgovernance. So misgovernance के pretext पे अवध को भी annex कर लिया गया 1856 में, 1856 में, and this is how by 1856 the Britishers were able to acquire a huge empire in India. So Dalhousie abolished all the titles, payments, pensions to local Raja, local chieftains altogether. So in this background you can see by 1857 शेखर बंदोपाध्याय राइट्स, नॉट मेंशन्ड इन एनसीईआरटी. शेखर बंदोपाध्याय की बुक है फ्रॉम प्लासी टू पार्टीशन एंड आफ्टर. सो फ्रॉम प्लासी टू पार्टीशन एंड आफ्टर इज अ बुक रिटन बाय शेखर बंदोपाध्याय, एंड देयर इट इज रिटन वेरी क्लियरली. उन्होंने कहा है कि 1857 तक, बाय 1857, 63% ऑफ द टेरिटरीज ऑफ इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट, 63%, 63%, 63% of the territories of Indian subcontinent and 78% of the total population of the Indian subcontinent were under the subordination of the British Empire. So this data is important. That is 63% of the total territory and 78% of total population of the Indian subcontinent were under the British subjugation, and this was the story of the expansion of British Empire. Fine. So in the second chapter, this actually has been very clearly mentioned. Fine. So with this, I am concluding this particular chapter. The next chapter, chapter number 3, will discuss about some of the laws or the Regulatory Act, British India Act, others, and their economic policies, how they were able to expand and they are able to exploit the resources of India. All right. See you shortly again. Thank you.